be talking to you guys about the Munchies food truck and their sustainable practices. So to start out with the background, they're on campus Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. The professor who runs it is Susan Losapio. It's a class, so there's about 15-20 students, and they have about 4 to 6 per night. Their biggest problem is their low retention rate. So because it's a class, it changes every semester who works there. So it is hard to train the students, and every semester on how to practice sustainable practices.
So since the food truck is fairly new, they do not have many plans implemented for the triple bottom line. The triple bottom line can be an important tool to support sustainability goals, and it can help evaluate our food truck's performance through social, environmental, and financial statuses. With that in mind, one area where the truck can improve the most is through the environment or the planet. Later in the presentation, we will point out key areas where Munchies can reduce and help improve upon the waste elimination and keep the environment safe and clean. So our task was to enhance the waste management systems already in use in the Munchies food truck and to reduce the amount of waste produced and work towards zero waste. Employees of the food truck will learn practices to work towards zero waste management of the food truck and educational practices to take with them in the future endeavors of the food truck. The food truck industry is in its 7th year of consistent growth, so this leads for a lot of opportunities for Munchies. And the systems and practices will be geared towards student employees and will be implemented during the training / onboard aspect of the truck, both inside and outside the classroom.
This slide here focuses on the second part of the situational analysis. The list is a compile of all the factors needed in order to achieve sustainable success. So the first one mentioned is the factors that are critical, which would be a class available, and that not only pertains to an actual classroom, but a professor and a group of students that are willing to not only work on the truck, but learn about the practices in order to achieve sustainability. And then the plan of action. A plan needs to be made by the professor of the course, which is Susan Losapio, a group of students that work the truck, potentially previous employers of the truck, and then we were thinking like the dean of the School of Business and then President LeBlanc, because everything does have to get passed by him in order for approval. The second aspect is the sources of waste. Those need to be identified. So the truck, as you heard today in the other presentations, a lot of the waste comes from the leftover food. So during the question and answer panel that Susan Losapio did, she was saying that Munchies actually prepares food before the every night rushes, and all the food that doesn't get purchased at the end of the night actually just gets thrown away. So that would be one way to identify how they can eliminate the amount of food waste. And then all the food that is stored at the end of the night is wrapped up in plastic wrap. So one thing they could do to change that is move away from plastic wrap and use reusable plastic containers, like Tupperware containers. And then the cooking oil, which you see in the fryer lighters on the truck, as someone else mentioned, all the food in the truck is fried food. So the amount of waste that they're generating from the cooking oil is impeccable. And then the third factor would be in-class training. So the in-class training could be reviewing the guidebook, whereas hands-on training would be focused and geared on the actual food truck itself, bringing students into the truck, showing them where everything goes and what they can do inside the truck. And then last but not least is raising awareness. So just like everyone else has mentioned today, social media is a huge, huge tool in today's generation. Munchies Food Truck actually has a Twitter, a Facebook, and an Instagram. So they could use those 3 platforms to spread awareness to their employees and their customers and the community itself about what they're doing to raise awareness.
So these are some of our recommendations for the Munchies food truck. We think that they should recycle their used cooking oil. We already know that on campus, the caf we have here, they shoot all the oil down into the basement, and then they have a company come and take that. So we feel as though Munchies can also utilize that. You can use the oil for other purposes. We also want to place more trash cans, recycling trash cans around the truck to promote more recycling and show people that they're really trying to become more aware of waste management. Also, we want to have them start using reusable containers and leftovers. Hopefully they can stop using plastic wrap to preserve all the food. And hopefully that the containers will provide a longer shelf life for the food. Also, we want to have them implement energy efficient appliances, and this could be such things like possibly a fridge or a new freezer that draws possibly less energy but does the same thing, or possibly even new lighting within the truck that could possibly reduce the wattage that they use, which would also create less energy. But these could be potentially expensive, so they'd have to go through higher ups and people who run the Munchies truck to get these prices approved. And then we're also going to look at the items that they use for recyclable plates and cups. We want to have them reduce that and start using more energy, not energy made, but recyclable materials. So we're going to try and measure their success, and we're going to do this by weekly profit tracking. So hopefully we can see that they're increasing in profit. And then we will also track their waste weekly. We can do this by seeing what they've used percentage-wise in maximizing their control for waste capacity. We're also going to look at the items used overall, like stationary items, to see if they cut back on cups, paper plates, plastic utensils, and kind of projected their say in reusable items. Also, we're going to see if their profit increases, if they can start opening for longer hours or possibly even another day, just to kind of get more customers in. And we're also going to track and see if they're more of like a community-based thing now, instead of just being on campus, if they can start taking their trucks off campus and start doing events maybe around Manchester or Hooksett as well.
So in conclusion, we found that Munchies Food Truck does not currently have any waste initiatives implemented right now. This leaves a lot of room for improvement and growth for us to demonstrate through this PowerPoint and of course our guidebook. The biggest barrier or obstacle for the food truck is the low retention rate. So they have an 85% turnover rate. The first semester that they implemented the Munchies Food Truck, only I think it was 15% of the employees came back for an independent study to work on the food truck. So with that being said, they need to retrain everyone else that's new on the food truck, which obviously if they're implementing new strategies, they're gonna have to train all of those on top of the regular training and onboarding aspect. Another big obstacle that needs to be taken into consideration is the cost aspect. So in order for any of these initiatives to be put in place, they need to get approved by someone or a department above, and that always comes down to the cost. So during the question and answer panel, once again, they said a lot of the initiatives that people have recommended have a high cost that the university isn't approving. So those barriers have to obviously be taken into consideration, but Munchies demonstrates a willingness to welcome the idea of sustainability. So I think that with everything working together, they